Welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ralph Williams. I am the host of the Sports Corner Show. And yeah, what do you want to talk about? And let me talk to you. I am the revolutionary. I am the revolutionary. I am the missionary. I am Ralph Williams. And what do you want to talk about today? Because we got a lot to talk about. The NFL draft. And we have Leo Haggerty possibly joining us today. I don't see him yet come up on the screen here yet. But Leo's going to be joining us this afternoon. Speaking of Leo, there he is. And he'll be joining us shortly. We're going to be talking about the NFL draft. We're going to be talking about the Steelers draft. We're going to break down some things. Undrafted free agents for the Steelers. Who will be the camp phenom? I already got my camp phenom already, and I know who I want or who I think will probably be the camp phenom of the undrafted free agents. News on Aaron Rodgers, and we got a whole lot more coming up here today. But my rant today is, but before we get to that, welcome Smokin' Jim Frazier, my co-host. Smokin' Jim, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one.
All right. I hate to break the bad news to everyone today, but this is going to be our last Sports Corner show here on social media. I'm focusing on my radio shows. I'll be doing shorts. Ralph's Opinion Show will continue. The Saturday Sports Show will continue. The Wrestle Talk Show also will be going off there. There's too many shows on here that we're bumping into, and what's happening is we're not getting a lot of views, and so I'm taking it off the air. And I'm going to focus on my radio shows, and but the Saturday Sports Show on Saturday at 10 a.m. will still continue, and the Ralph's Opinion Show on Thursday night at 7:30 will also continue as well. But I'll be on here with shorts. I'll be on here with Ralph Reports, so you'll be seeing Smokin' Jim. You'll be hearing him on this on Fridays and Saturdays on the Sports Corner Radio Show up in Pittsburgh. So Smokin' Jim's not going anywhere. And then don't forget tonight to catch Smokin' Jim on the Pittsburgh Sports Line on Bethel Park TV and on their YouTube channel and their Facebook page. My rant is today. Pittsburgh Steelers, quit playing around with Aaron Rodgers. You had an opportunity to sign Joe Flacco. You let him go to Cincinnati. He could have filled in a little bit until you got this quarterback situation straightened out. But instead, now you're playing around with him, and now you put the UFA tag on him, because you're afraid he's going to go to another team. And there's rumors out there that he's been speaking to other teams. Now, my thing here is that if he couldn't give a loyal, dedicated response to the Steelers, I would have told him to take a hike. All right? Because I think what we should do is let Will Howard or Drew Aller or Mason Rudolph or somebody have one bad year, let one of them grow, and then move on as we go. But you know what? Mike McCarthy has 5 years. I think we could get at least one, maybe two Super Bowls out of those 5 years. And if we can do that, that's a bonus for the Steelers. But I think they need to tell Aaron Rodgers where to eat it if I find out he was talking to other teams. And that's my rant for today. Go ahead, Smokin' Jim.
Hey, good job, Ralph.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, I really believe the Steelers wanted to take Ty Simpson in the first round. I think they wanted to make a big splash in the Rams fooled them. Then they was illegally on the phone with the kid from USC. You cannot talk to players when it's not part of your 8 minutes, when you're not on the clock. So they're going to get a heavy fine for that, or maybe lose some draft picks. I don't even know if they announced it yet. And then I think they panicked. They should have took Casey Concepcion with that pick, but I think they panicked and took a kid that never played high school football, only played right tackle in college, and now they're talking about moving him to compete for the left tackle position. This kid is at least 2 years away, if ever, from seeing the NFL field.
All right. Thank you, Smokin' Jim. Good job. I agree 100% with you on this. I don't like this pick, but, we'll go from there. We'll see what happens as we go. We have different coaches now, different situation. Let's see what they do. I don't like the pick either, but we'll see what happens there. Leo Haggard, welcome to the show. Leo's our guest today, where he's going to be talking NFL draft. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, how they did in the draft. They loaded up on defense, which is what they needed to do. And so we'll go from there. I also heard many times this week with Tampa stuff about how Kalijah Cansey needs to step up, and we'll see if he does. Things like that. Leo, welcome to the program. How are you? Ramped Up Sports.
I'm hanging in there, Ralph. How about yourself?
Not too bad.
How you doing, Bubba?
Say hi to Smokin' Jim, or say hi to Leo, Smokin' Jim.
Hey, Leo, always good to hear you, brother.
On the right grass, that's all that matters.
There you go. All right. Okay. Thank you, Brian Pettit. Brian has a new network out called hang on a second, I got it right here. Hold on a minute. It's called Sports Desk, and that's with Brian Pettit. I'm going to show you the picture of that. He has a new network out called, let me see if I can find the banner. There it is right there. Sports Desk with Brian Pettit, Sports Desk Media. There you go. There's Brian. All right. And don't forget to join Brian Pensman, Leo, and myself every Saturday at 10 a.m. for the Saturday Sports Show. We come back this Saturday. We got a lot to talk about this week, Leo, on the show on Saturday. So we'll be doing that. But right now, Leo, let's talk about the draft. What was your thoughts on the draft as a whole?
Well, there weren't any surprises in my mind. It wasn't like somebody taking a guy in the top 15 that was a surprise until number 13, Ty Simpson. And again, let's go back to what Atlanta did when they had Kirk Cousins and they decided, well, you know what? We may not be up here again. Let's get our quarterback of the future. I think the Rams did the same thing. And the fact that nobody's comparing that to what happened in Atlanta. I mean, you've got Matthew Stafford coming off an MVP year, and you draft a quarterback in the first round. That's because the guy's 38 years old.
And he's injury prone.
Well, everybody's injury prone in that game.
Yeah.
When you look at what can happen, ideally for the Rams, Ty Simpson gets to sit for a couple years. And I put this out on my post today. Don't forget what Aaron Rodgers did. He sat for 3 years in Green Bay, 7 games in 3 years. Everybody thought he was a bust. All he did was put together 15 more years with 4 MVPs and a Super Bowl. I'll take that. So, yeah, I think it was a reach only because I saw Ty Simpson in his first start against South Florida. And he just flopped. They beat South Florida, I think it was 11-6.
I remember that game. I watched it. Yes.
Oh, God. And again, young kid, Nick Saban was trying to send a message to his first-team quarterback, sit him down and see what happened. Well, guess what? I think the quarterback sent a message back to Nick Saban. You want to win, you got to put me back in the game, which they did the following week, went all the way to the playoffs. But I'm hoping they have a chance to let this kid marinate for 2 years. I go back to when I first started this back with our lad scouting service, and Carmen Perone, who was the head scout of the Saints, I said, Carmen, what do I need to know about this league? What do I need to know about the NFL? Your first round pick has to play. But he definitely had a corollary. He said, unless it's a quarterback. You can sit a quarterback for a year or even longer, but anybody else has to play now. You can't have a first round pick that isn't on the field. So again, if we look at what's happened, I don't think Mendoza, the plan is for him to get on the field early, especially with that offensive line, which looks like the 7 blocks of silly putty.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't want him hurt. Kirk Cousins gets hurt, fine, but the investment is in the future. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. So,
you said the Jets may have had a good draft. Wow.
Yeah, I believe they did. I hear the Jets, and I heard that it was the Jets and the Cleveland Browns. I heard had both teams had the best drafts. That's what the others are saying, like the NFL Network, ESPN, and all them. They're saying that the Jets and the Browns had the best draft.
Yeah, you know what? Let's jump to the Bucks. I'll tell you what. You talk about misinformation being put out. Bain drops right into their lap. And the only thing that you're hearing about is he got short arms, he got short arms, he got short arms. That's from a team that wants him and is trying to get you to get off of him. I'll tell you what, Ruben Bain is the real deal. And again, Smokin' Jim, Ralph, what people need to realize when you draft an edge rusher, you're trying to see if he has more than one move because 90 to 95, maybe 100% of the time, he's a speed rusher. He's going to the outside shoulder of the tackle and just trying to beat him on athleticism. The problem is that's not going to happen on Sunday. You've got to have a rip, a swim, a spin, a bull rush. You just can't speed rush off the edge. What you're seeing from Bain is that he has multiple moves. Yeah, he's got the speed rush, but he's also able to bull rush and get down and swim outside. So yeah, it's for the Bucks. This was a no-brainer. I don't care if he's got 20-inch arms. I don't care if he's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The man's a beast in the defensive line.
Yeah, and the Buccaneers needed defense. They went and got what they wanted, which was a good thing. Smokin' Jim, you have anything you want to add or any comments or anything you want to ask Leo? Go ahead.
Yeah, Leo, real quick, I don't know if you were able to scout the Pittsburgh Steelers first round draft pick. What do you think of him?
He's a little bit of a project. And again, when you say, well, you're moving from right tackle to left tackle, everybody says, well, how hard is that? Well, guess what? It's really hard because now you're putting a different hand in the dirt, you're putting a different foot back, and your whole footwork changes. So I like what they did in terms of, okay, we've got to get people that's going to protect the quarterback, whoever it may be. Okay, they took probably what was the best offensive lineman on the board, arguably, as usual. But then they came up, grabbed a wide receiver. So, yeah, it's they're starting to put pieces into play. And, Ralph, the biggest problem they're going to have in Pittsburgh, and you hit this nail on the head. You used to call Tomlin mediocre Mike. The problem was he kept winning. And if all of a sudden you see a 6 and 7 win season, this fan base hasn't seen that in decades.
In decades, yes.
They're going to accept that. And again, I'm going to throw this out for people. When you look at this mathematically,
okay,
with a salary cap, everybody should be equal. If you take that as gospel, that means every 16 years, you get one trip to the Super Bowl. Every 32 years, you should win one. We're not talking about multiple Super Bowls in the space of 4, 5, 6, 7 years. The fact that that's happening means you have just done an exceptional job of creating a roster and a coaching staff. Like, everybody's talking about the Eagles. Yeah, they went and they won, but they shouldn't do that again for another 16 years because it's just the one thing about the NFL. If you are bad, you draft first. And if you keep getting, and the Steelers, this was the problem. They kept ending up in that 15, 16, 17 to 25 range.
Yes.
With the quarterback.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you don't have enough ammunition to come up.
No.
The Jets are a perfect example of this. They got so many picks next year to move up and get that quarterback. And lo and behold, look who they took. Clay Kubnik out of Clemson.
Yes. Yes. Indeed, they did. Yes. And they, Clay's not a bad quarterback either.
No.
And, so, but anyway, one thing I was very agitated with the Steelers was they had those picks. They could have used them. They could have moved up and got Cleveland was looking for somebody to trade with to take that 6th pick. And I said, where's the Steelers at here? I mean, they could have got what they wanted if they would have done that. And I don't, you know what I mean? You could have gave away, 3 draft picks in that draft and still had enough to satisfy what you need. And the Steelers just stood back there like a bunch of dummies. And, and then Philly ends up, trading with Dallas or whatever for the position and gets Malachi Lemon, who we were on the phone with before he even got drafted. And now there's a possibility the Steelers could be in trouble for that. That to me is just plain out nonsense. And, Smokin' Jim said it clearly. Omar Khan is a numbers cruncher. He's not real good at drafting. He's not real good at scouting players. He's a numbers cruncher. And now it's starting to show without Mike Tomlin that can he handle these drafts by himself with Mike McCarthy. And, so we'll see what happens here. This draft was just, to me, there were some head scratchers, but you know what? I don't know yet. I gave him a C. That's all I can say. You know what I mean?
I put this out today on my post. You really don't know how the draft plays out until at least a year or two from now. Because everybody drafted has not stepped on an NFL field. I mean, there are guys that are drafted 2, 3, 4, 5 that never play. And again, you can't afford to have more than one of those every 5, 6, 7 years because you come away nothing in the first round. That's a big problem. That's a big hole you got to fill. And again, I'm going to use Rondé Barber as an example. If people thought Rondé Barber was going to be a Hall of Famer, do you think 32 teams would have passed on him 4 times? No.
No, not at all.
Science.
And you never know who can become a Hall of Famer. It could be an undrafted free agent. Smokin' Jim will agree with me here. The Steelers over the years have not drafted well first-round picks as offensive linemen. I can go all the way back to John Reinstra. I can go back to Tom Ricketts. I can go back to Jermaine Stevens. I can go back. Broderick Jones is not that good. I just named you a few there, and there's probably more than that I'm leaving out here, right, Smokin' Jim?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Tom Ricketts and the whole bit.
Yeah, John Reinstra.
Yeah.
And that was a waste of 2 first-round picks. Well, Tim Worley was okay. Tim Worley didn't, the Mr. Fumbler they used to call him, but I should be careful because I've had Tim on my show, on my radio show at one time, so I should be careful about what I say about Tim. But you know what? He was Mr. Fumbler, and and then we had Tom Ricketts, and we had John Reinstra, and we had Broderick Jones, and I know I'm missing a couple, but I can't remember. I know Jermaine Stevens was a bust. He was out of North Carolina A&T. We drafted him in '96. Yeah. And I want to say this, Leo, you are correct about the Steelers, and I want to do a Chuck Noll quote. I watched his documentary or his A Football Life. I watch it over and over again because I like to get some wisdom about what was about Chuck Noll. And he said this to his wife when they won the '79 Super Bowl. He went home and he said to his wife, he said, "Look," he said, "we're going to stink." And he wasn't right up front. He said, "We're going to stink. We're old and we're continuing to draft number 30 or whatever, 28 or whatever it was then.
Absolutely.
And he said, we're going to stink because I can't get the players I need to come in here and do this because of how far down we're drafted. So, and that was something that he said, we're old and we're going to stink. And he came right out and said it to his wife. He told his wife, Marianne, we're going to stink. And I mean, that's being honest. And Leo, you hit it right on the head with that. I mean, you really did when you said when we're drafting 15 and 16 and we had the chance. Cleveland was looking to get out of that number 6 pick. All the Steelers had to do was make a phone call and boom, they could have probably done. I don't even know if Cleveland would even have dealt with us or with the Steelers. I don't know. But, that would have been a really nice thing to talk about there. Smokin' Jim, you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm enjoying the conversation with Leo.
There you go.
You know what, Ralph? I'm gonna pick up with what you said. I don't think they may have called, and maybe the price was too high, but I didn't see a guy in the draft
that was worth that
somebody
position.
was willing to spend draft capital to move up to 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. I didn't see that.
Okay.
And that's why you saw all these teams trying to get out because what they were looking at, safety, wide receiver, linebacker, running back. I mean, Jeremiah Love may have been the best person in the draft, but running backs, general managers, they consider them a dime a dozen.
Yeah, there were a lot of Ohio State players, a lot of edge rushers. I saw a lot of that. I covered the draft for all 3 days. The third day had a little bit of a problem, had to take care of something, so we had to get off after the 4th round. But, I mean, I covered the first 2 days, and all I saw was edge rushers, left and right, Ohio State players going off the board, ton of them. And it was just one after the other, when you win the national championship and stuff, years ago. So, I mean, Ohio State's always had a good program anyway, but we'll see where their offense goes this year with Arthur Smith. But go ahead, Leo. Sorry.
I just didn't see the real urge for teams to move up into that top 5. I didn't. And again, what you see happen is, let's say the Jets have the number 2 pick, which they did. Somebody calls up and they say, who are you taking? Oh, we're taking so-and-so. Okay, thanks. Well, we're taking so-and-so. Okay, thanks. We're taking so-and-so. Hey, do you want to move down? Because they said the magic word, the player they wanted to move up for. And that's the key. When you see all these drafts like where they moved up 1 spot, that's because somebody told them, whether it was right or wrong, that the player they were targeting that they moved up for was going to get taken, or somebody else wanted to move up there. And again, I encourage your listeners and viewers to watch Draft Day, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's not far from the truth, believe me.
What a great movie. Kevin Costner played that really good. So yeah, that's a really good movie. The pick I like that Tampa Bay did here is I like the 2nd round pick, Trotter, the linebacker from Missouri. I like him. And then you guys went and got the wide receiver Ted Hurst from Georgia State. Also, I want to acknowledge RM Dizzle. Thank you for being part of the program, commenting about Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is coming back, but and as usual, the Steelers are kissing his butt, and that's fine. You know what I mean? If that's what they want to do, they better get this offensive line up to par. I'm hearing stories now that they're looking at a couple free agents that are out there that probably are getting or have been released after the draft. And we're going to find out what's going on. And there's still some of them lurking out there. And I hear the Steelers are interested in a couple guys. So we're going to find out who they pick up and bring in. They got to do something with this line for Aaron Rodgers. And so Tampa this year, Leo, I want to ask you this question. Is Todd Bowles on the hot seat or on eggshells if he doesn't do something this year?
You know what, Ralph and Smokin' Jim? After seeing what's going on in Major League Baseball after less than 30 games, the Red Sox clean house, the Phillies get rid of their manager. I think everybody's on the hot seat. You go 1-7 out of the gate, you'll be looking for a job. I don't care who you are. It's just that's the way of the world. And the biggest problem is perception. Everybody talks about Shanahan out in San Francisco. What a great offensive mind he is. What a great job he had. What a great head coach. Shanahan and Bowles, who has the most Super Bowl rings?
Bowles.
Yeah, he's got one as a defensive assistant.
Yes.
Shanahan has cost franchises 3 of them.
Yeah,
one
because
in
of his
Atlanta,
dumb
2 in San
coaching
Francisco.
decisions. Yes, his dumb coaching decisions. And what he needs to do is bring in an offensive coordinator to run, and he run the team as a head coach. I've said that 1,000 times over. You need to bring somebody in and be the coach. Don't be the coordinator and the coach, because if you're trying to do 2 jobs, it will not work. You know what I mean?
I think, and again, the biggest problem is finding that guy.
Yeah.
That could work under you as the head coach. And again, Bowles is not an offensive guy, so he brought in Robinson from Atlanta. And look what the Eagles did. They brought in Sean Mannion. And you know what, guys? The complaint of, the quarterback's got a new offensive coordinator. Unless you are Josh McDaniel or Mark Richt, you're going to get a different offensive coordinator every year, every 2 years. Why?
Right.
If you're good, you're going to get the head coaching job somewhere. If you're bad, you're going to get fired. Well, Richt and McDaniel, they failed so badly as head coaches, they're not going to get a head coaching job. So they're sitting there right where they need to be, and they're not moving. And that helps young quarterbacks. But everybody says, quarterbacks are on their 4th offense coordinator in 5 years. Well, guess what? Get used to it. It's going to happen. That's the way of the NFL right now, because everybody wants that hot offensive coordinator. Look what happened. The Cardinals pick up one, Matt LaFleur's brother. The Raiders pick up one, 2 offensive coordinators coming off the finals teams. So, yeah, it's going to happen. Deal with it. Find a way.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Smokin' Jim, any final questions or anything you want to ask Leo before I let him go?
Let me just say this. A receiver that was very high on my list, Leo, was Tad Hurst from Georgia State.
Yes.
You guys got him. I think you never know, because a lot of these receivers turn into divas. I think you got a special player right there, man.
Yeah, and the Philadelphia Eagles are seeing that with the A.J. Brown situation. But, all of a sudden, with all that reporting coming out of New England and what was going on up there, we just don't know how much of that was misinformation. But I'll tell you what, guys, the Eagles may have got the steal of the draft, picking up Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt, the tight end. And what they do at Vanderbilt is they would split him out in like a trips formation, and he was like a slot receiver as a tight end. Well, guess what? You can't guard him with a corner. The corner's going to take the wide out. So you either got a linebacker or a safety covering this guy, and Vanderbilt did such a great job. The guy runs a 4.4 40. He's got speed, and what they do is they get him the ball right away. He led, he was the Mackey Award winner. And see, this is what I don't understand about a lot of things. This guy's good. That's why he got the Mackey Award. He averaged 67 yards a game as a tight end. That's an eternity for a tight end, because people don't throw to tight ends anymore. It's crazy. But, yeah, there's the steal. And, again, the biggest problem you have with wide receivers, Smokin' Jim, and they're not necessarily divas, but if you get in the huddle and you got 3 wide receivers in there, 3 of them are all saying at once, "I'm open, throw me the ball." That's their mentality.
Exactly. All right, thanks, Leo, for being part of the show today. I appreciate it. Smokin' Jim's, anything else you want to add before I let Leo go?
No, great job, Leo. Always enjoy you, buddy.
All right, Leo Haggerty.
Always good to be on with you two guys. And Ralph, I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, we'll talk Saturday, and also don't forget to check Leo's stuff out on Amped Up Sports on their Facebook page and their website, which is coming up real soon. And they got some big plans coming up for 2026 and beyond. Amped Up Sports, so check in with them as we go. All right, thank you, Leo, once again, and have a great one. Thank you so much.
Everybody, stay safe.
All right, that was Leo Haggerty, Amped Up Sports. Smokin' Jim, always a pleasure to have Leo on. To talk about the draft and his knowledge of football and what's going on down in Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers. I was curious because I wanted to get 2 or 3 different opinions from them down there because of the Todd Bowles situation. Everybody wants him out, and, it's another Mike Tomlin kind of thing down there. He's winning, but, they're not happy with it. They want a Super Bowl, and everybody does. So, Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on what Leo had to add. Go ahead.
Well, a couple of things you might be able to help me out with.
Go ahead.
If not now, maybe you can research it. The Steelers had 12 draft picks, and they only got to use 10. Do you know how they moved up and what they did and what round to lose those draft picks or to trade those draft picks away?
Well, they moved up they didn't have a 6th round pick, and I know they took one of the 7s, I think, and maybe one of I know they took one of the 7s and gave it to somebody for their 6th round pick and moved up to there. I know that.
Okay.
And one of the other draft picks, if I'm not recall, I think they moved up in one of the other rounds too to get somebody. I think it was the 5th round or something. They moved up to get somebody. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how they lost those picks. But that to me makes no sense to be doing that in the later rounds when you could have done it when you had the opportunity at number 6 to get what you wanted. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know if the cost of what they wanted, and I know Cleveland probably would have stuck it to the Steelers just like Dallas and Philly did, so I mean, but anyway, your thoughts on this draft with the Steelers, Smokin' Jim, and what happened with the 1st round pick? Go ahead.
Well, again, Omar Khan just proved
he got exposed.
And he should stick to what he does. He should stick to
Andy Weidel should have that job. Andy Weidel should have that job.
So the bottom line is the Pittsburgh Steelers had 2 years to make a big splash. It was here in Pittsburgh. The city did their job. They made everything accommodating. It was beautiful. It was nice. It was. I haven't heard anything bad. Steelers blew it.
They did.
I always, all along, I thought they wanted Ty Simpson. I took a lot of heat for it. Everybody thought Ty Simpson was not a 1st round pick, maybe not even a 2nd round pick. The Rams fooled everybody by going 13, and the Steelers didn't have a backup plan.
No, they didn't.
This was a deep wide receiver year. And
I told him to load up. I said, load up on him. Get as many as you can,
And you're going to put all your eggs in one wide receiver for USC, who's not even the best. He's just one of the wide receivers that's really good. So
I thought Boston was going to be there, but the Steelers again. Here we go. They could have traded up in the 2nd round and got Boston from Washington because he was supposed to go in the 1st round anyway. There were mock drafts that had the Steelers taking him. So, I mean, I thought they would get that guy. So,
So they blew it. They had no backup plans after Ty Simpson left or got picked.
No.
And then they illegally
they should have took Green instead of Drew Eller. I think they should have took Taylon Green. But he didn't go until late. And he was available too.
Cleveland took him.
Yes, Cleveland did take him. Yes,
so,
yes.
I'm just shocked that the Pittsburgh Steelers allowed themselves. They know the rules. You can't be on the phone when it's not your turn. They're going to get hit. They're going to get hit with a heavy fine. They're tarnishing their image by doing some of the things that they do. And then you have Casey Concepcion sitting right there.
And you didn't
This
take him.
guy can return punts for you. He
Didn't
can be
take
a
him.
running back for you, receiver.
Yep.
He's instant offense, and he was right there. That's who they should have took. I think the fans would have went crazy. And then you take a guy,
And he's tough. He
raw-
played for Texas A&M. He's tough. He's a tough
And you-
guy. You know.
and you take a guy that's rawer than
Oh.
Broderick Jones.
I
was
never even
coming
heard
out
of this guy.
Georgia.
I didn't even hear.
Yeah,
I didn't even hear
mean,
of this guy.
That's crazy.
I
This guy
mean,
never
you know.
played high school football. He was
No.
He played
No.
basketball. He played junior college
Right.
football,
Right.
and he played at Arizona State and only played right tackle.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
This is the 3 out of 4 years they drafted an offensive lineman in the first round.
And the only one they got that I believe that they got right was for Matu. That's the only one they got right.
And he may be moving to left tackle.
The left tackle.
So
yeah. Yeah.
they,
I know.
They clearly
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing.
No.
And I agree with you on the only one that was decent. But I tell you what, I really like the kid they got out of Iowa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That guy. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know what? I think he was the steal of the Steeler draft because he just sat there. That guy can mow people over. How many times have I said Kurt Ferentz always has good offensive linemen, good tight ends, and good running backs? Have I ever? Well, except for what's his name, Johnson, that we laid an egg on so far. But I mean, I've always said it because you see it there. Kurt Ferentz's teams, they're tough. They do like the Steelers. They dress like the Steelers. They act like the Steelers. The old-fashioned running game, and they execute well, and they have hard-hitting players. All right, here's Smokin' Jim. I'm going to put this up right now. We're going to go over this. The teams who had no players drafted, and here's a school that I'm really surprised that had no. North Carolina, nobody. Virginia, nobody. West Virginia, nobody. Useless. I call them useless. UCLA, nobody. Purdue, nobody. Colorado, Deion Sanders, nobody. Virginia Tech, no. Well, Virginia Tech had a coaching issue there. And then Oklahoma State University, Syracuse. Hey, that guy we signed, that undrafted free agent, that guy is huge. There's another guy that I think is a steal of an undrafted free agent. That guy can play defense. That one from Syracuse, big, huge dude. I'll get his name. Wisconsin, for the first time in a long time, had nobody. What's your thoughts on this list, Smokin' Jim?
I'm in shock. I had no idea, man. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
wow.
I mean, nobody drafted.
How the mighty have fallen. Huh?
I always say that, don't I? How the mighty have fallen. Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm. All right. There is the Steelers draft class right there. This Max Iabotcher, or however you pronounce his name, I'm not happy with this pick at all. But the Bernard pick I was happy with in the second round, but they could have got somebody else as well if they would have used a couple of those picks. What's your thoughts on the third round pick, Drew Eller, Smokin' Jim? Do you think Drew Eller was a good pick?
Well, again, if you're going for upside, the biggest upside would have been Taylor Green. I can't believe they passed on him.
Oh my gosh! I sat there and scratched my head. I said, "Come on, guys!"
But if you want to take a quarterback with upside, it's Drew Eller. Drew Eller's big. He got a big arm. Let's face it. His junior year, him and the tight end. That's what the Indianapolis Colts said may be the best tight end ever play college football and may go down as the best tight end in NFL history. They connected for over 100 passes, several touchdowns. So Freiermuth should be happy. Maybe you can fix, because Drew Eller has all the ingredients physically that it takes to be an NFL quarterback. He didn't play well in college, man. No, nothing around that. But if you're going to take a quarterback in the third round, it should have been Taylor Green. But the second guy, if you're going to take, would have been Drew Eller, because maybe the coaches maybe they can coach him up, and you may have something. If not, at least you took a shot. I thought they should have took 2 quarterbacks in this draft. I thought in the 6th, 7th round they should have took another quarterback. You got to continue to get a quarterback in here until you find one, and they haven't found one yet.
Yeah, and the free agents out there weren't all that great. They weren't. I mean, I wanted Joe Flacco because Flacco's reliable. At least when he plays, he wins most of the, some of the time. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And then now
yes,
he went
sir.
back to Cincinnati. So, I mean, you know, and here we go again. The Steelers are going to have to deal with Joe Flacco again in the division. And they could have had him. And instead, we're playing rinky-dink and everything with this Aaron Rodgers. And that burns my butt up that the Steelers continue to lose on opportunity. You know, when opportunity knocks, you open the door. And the Steelers have not opened the door. And it's just they didn't answer the door, Smokin' Jim. That's a simple fact right there. They didn't answer the door. You know, so all right, let's take a quick look at these some of these undrafted free agents. I know a lot of people don't care about that stuff, but I do, because you could pick a camp phenom out of this and be able to really you know, come up with somebody. And you know, Ramon Foster was an undrafted free agent. Not that Ramon Foster was much of anything, but I mean, he was, you know, and he made the team. So I mean, you know, and they signed 5 of them today, I believe, or 6 that they signed today. All right, here we go. They got let me see, tight end from USC, Lake McRae. I like this Indiana defensive back, Smokin' Jim, Devon Boykin. What do you think of this guy?
He got a chance to make it.
Yeah, he does. Here's the guy right here, Syracuse, defensive lineman Kevin Joppity Jr. This guy is huge. He's over 300 pounds. I hear, you know, he don't have a lot of tackles or nothing like that. But you know what, though? He's big and he can stop the run. So that's been a problem for the Steelers for a long time. I think this guy's going to be the camp phenom right here. This guy, this Joppity Jr. I believe that. They signed a kicker, Kansas kicker, Lath Marion. He'll be gone by the end of training camp. Just bring him in to rest up. Chris Boswell. You know what I mean? You know? Why do you waste your time on that one? You know. Arizona State tight end Shimon Matrayer. I don't know much about him. But this Lake McRae from USC, this tight end, he's 6'4", 243 pounds. That's about the average height and weight for a tight end. But, you know, and we'll see where they go with these tight ends. They drafted that Kowalski or whatever from Arizona State. It seems like they were, you know, Arizona State was the school this year the Steelers wanted to go with. You know what I mean? Smokin' Jim, what do you think about some of these guys here?
Well, I think the tight end they draft is from Indiana.
Or Indiana, I'm sorry. Yeah, Kowalski. Yeah. I saw him play. He's not a bad tight end. I mean, you know,
the Black Pollock. Yeah. Yeah. How can you go wrong with that?
The Black Pollock.
How can you go wrong with that?
Oh, yeah.
How
about Desmond Reed? He's with Buffalo. How about Desmond Reed?
They blew it. The Steelers should have.
Yeah, they blew it.
They could have got him as a walk-on. But
yeah.
Again, I said going into the draft, and I think you backed me up on it.
I did.
I said, you know, if the Steelers had 12 draft picks, all 12 could have possibly made this team.
Yes.
Now, I think 9 out of 10 draft choices will make the team, and a couple free agents will make the team. There's room on this roster.
Yeah,
I've been saying all along, and people got on my case because the Steelers made the playoffs. I said the problem with the Steelers is not getting down to 53-man roster. The problem with the Steelers is stopping at 53. There ain't 33 NFL quality players on that roster, and I think this draft will prove it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on a second here. I'm trying to find out the guy's name. That one free agent offensive tackle is supposed to be pretty good. I don't know what happened, why this team released him, because sometimes teams release people and, you know, for some known reason. It could be money, it could be their attitude, it could be they didn't park their car in the right spot. It could be anything. I mean, I don't know why some of these people get rid of some of these players, but the Steelers seem to be able to find some of these guys. And this one offensive, I think he's an offensive lineman. If they can bring this guy in, I think they'll be in pretty decent shape here. But Aaron Rodgers is an something free agent, it's a UDF or UFA or something like that. And the Steelers put it on him because there was a rumor going around. I don't know if the Steelers got it off of X or anything like that, or false rumors that he was talking to other teams. And so they put him on some kind of a free agent thing here. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that, man. You may want to talk on that. I'm not familiar
hold on. Let me see
with
here.
that.
I got it right here. It says, all right, here we go. Hold on a second here. Oh, wait a minute here. Russell Wilson. Oh, here we go. I got some news from a publication called Heavy. Says that Russell Wilson has visited with the New York Jets. How do I hear like that one, Smokin' Jim? Russell Wilson meeting with the New York Jets.
What quarterbacks do they have? Did they draft one, or?
I think they did. Yeah. Let me look at their draft. I don't have the list of their picks, but let me look at their draft. Let me see what who they drafted. I know they did draft a quarterback, and I'm trying to think of who it was. Hold on a minute. Let me look here real quick. Here we go. I got it right here. All right, let's see. All right, here. This Utah, they could have traded up, and if the Steelers really needed a tight end, which they really don't, they could have got Kenyon Sadiq and moved up into that 6th spot because he would have been available because you know what I mean. They took David Bailey in the 1st round, an edge rusher. He's good with Texas Tech. Then they had 3 first-round picks. They took Kenyon Sadiq in their 2nd pick, which was at number 16. The tight end from Oregon, and then they took Omar Cooper, who was still available, who the Steelers, if they would have really wanted him, could have traded up and got him. Okay. Then you got pick number 2. They took D'Angelo Pons, and then they took Darrell Jackson Jr. from Florida State. I don't know much about this guy. I think he was rated in the top 15 on that draft buzz, I think. Let's see here. Here's your quarterback, the kid from Clemson, Cade Klubenik. They drafted him in the 4th round, the kid from Clemson. Brian Pettit tells me he's not a bad quarterback. So,
well, Russell Wilson got a chance then to play next year.
Yeah, he does.
Because Cade will probably sit a season at least.
Yeah, exactly. Here, hold on a minute. Let me see who their roster, who's on their quarterback list, because I know they got rid of Justin Fields. I think he's even still sitting out there, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean?
They got rid of him.
Yeah. So let me see what they got here. Okay, they got Clay Kubinik. They got Geno Smith. That's who they have now. Geno Smith is back with them. So he's their starting quarterback, and they got Bailey Zappi too. They got Bailey Zappi, and then they got a developmental kid called Brady Cook, or something like that. So, so there you go. You got Brady Cook, Bailey Zappi. He's been around. He was a former New England Patriot, and then they got and Geno Smith's their main guy. So we'll see what Geno Smith does in New York.
The bottom line is life is about the choices that you make, and Russell never should have left Seattle. Probably going to cost him a Hall of Fame. I mean, the numbers that he would have right now if he had stayed at Seattle.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he couldn't get along with Pete Carroll. I don't know what the story was there. And then he went to Denver. And then when Sean Payton got hired, Payton didn't like his attitude. He has his own office, his own bathroom, his own shower, and all that stuff. And I guess Sean Payton took offense to it and got rid of him. But that cost Denver a lot of crap too, because they had to pick up his salary. Remember that? That's how the Steelers got him. You know,
leaving Seattle might have cost him the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
So,
yeah, he would. Do you know how many more Super Bowls he probably could have won if he would have stayed there?
well, he'd
You
have
know?
had the numbers. He'd
Yeah.
have had the numbers.
The numbers, at least.
I
Yeah.
mean, Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls, and they won't let him in.
Yeah,
win,
I know.
So,
Well, so did Ben
that's
Roethlisberger too. So you know.
Well, Ben hasn't been eligible yet, but
No.
you don't think he'll be a first ballot, Ben?
He should. Yeah, I think him and Eli should be sooner or later here. When, I don't know. I'm still waiting for Hines Ward to get in.
Eli's been up. I mean, he's been turned down.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for years in a row.
I'm waiting for Hines Ward to get in. That's who I'm waiting for. So.
Well, he's been turned down. How long? He's been eligible for years.
I know.
That's a shame.
I know.
That's a shame.
It is. It's a really sad shame.
To be in.
Yeah. That's pretty bad. That's
it.
pretty bad when they got John Kuhn on the list. Remember I told you they had John Kuhn on one of them lists? Yeah. John Kuhn. Yeah. Okay. John Kuhn. All right. Yeah. One of the best fullbacks in the league, John Kuhn. In fact, he was there for Green Bay or one of them teams to do their draft picks. He was there. I saw John Stallworth too, from the Steeler minority owner. He's part of that minority ownership group, and so. But I think the minority owners now with the Steelers are going to stay Smokin' Jim, because they wanted Tomlin out. They got him. They got him out. So
you did say that. You did say that.
And also too, Bill Cowher said he wanted to put some money into the team, but he wasn't doing it with Mike Tomlin being there. You know,
wow.
So I'm hearing he may put some money into the team. I'd like to see Mark Cuban put some money into the team. I really would. In fact, I would like to see the Rooney sell it to Cuban and Cuban keep it here in Pittsburgh, because Cuban's a billionaire 10 times over, and he would play no games. Omar Khan wouldn't have a job. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
or he would go back to being what you call it, the money cruncher there, or the numbers cruncher.
Yeah,
but you know what though? I want to say this to you, Smokin' Jim, and I'm going to use your words. Omar Khan in this draft got exposed.
Yes, sir.
He got exposed.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it. He got egg on his face.
Oh man, they're taking that terrible towel and wiping it down, and poor Myron Cope got to see it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Myron Cope's up there probably saying, "Yoy, you use my towel to wipe egg off your face, you dummy." You know?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good
dummy.
one, Ralph.
You dummy. I got something. I got something for Omar Khan. Here we go. Sanford and Son here. I got a picture of Fred Sanford saying, "You big dummy." I dedicate this to Omar Khan. You big dummy. There you go, right there. So, yeah, you big dummy. All right, let me give you some announcements here. I know those of you tuning in today, if you came in late at the beginning, I announced that today's our final episode and final show of the Sports Corner Show. I had to do some reflecting. I was totally exhausted after trying to do all 3 days of the draft, and I ended up in exhaustion on the third day, and we had to shut down in the fourth round, at the end of the fourth round. And then we had some issues with some comment people that got me and Pensman in a bad mood, so we ended up shutting it down. And shame on you for doing that, making that comment. You know who you are, and you're no longer welcome on any of my shows. If I ever see you on here again, we're going to have a problem. And I want to let you know, Pensman is my monitor, so he blocked you out, so you're done. Okay, you can go somewhere with that comment you made. All right, it was unacceptable, and you need to stay off my programs if you're not saying anything about the drama that was created by another entity. All right. So anyway, today's our last show here today because I'm focusing on my radio shows, which are very successful as of right now. Both in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and down here in the Delmarva area. We're in Studio 10 here in Berlin, Maryland, I forgot to mention. And that are very successful. Sports Corner now is on 2 days a week, Friday and Saturday now up in Pittsburgh. So tune in every Friday at 3 o'clock p.m. on 620 KHB. Every Friday, 3 o'clock. This week, we're going to talk about the NFL draft. And, of course, we're going to talk about who the Steelers drafted as well. But Saturday on the Sports Corner radio show on 1250 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial, 2 o'clock to 3 p.m. Ray Fittipaldo will join us, who is still with the Post-Gazette because they just got bought out by by a Baltimore newspaper called the Baltimore Banner. And I found some interesting things out about that. So tune into the Ralph Williams shows, and I will give you the information about the Baltimore Banner that I found out. So they're richer than everyone thought they were. So, I mean, I just want to let everyone know there was concern about that being there. We're a nonprofit, but there's some I found some interesting information out about that as well. So we're going to find out what goes on there. And then on Wednesday, don't forget, which is tomorrow, 3 to 4 p.m., WWDB 860 AM, the Ralph Williams Show. Here's the video on that one. Here it goes. All right, and that's the video on that. And there's the call letters, 860 AM, WWDB. And don't forget, every fourth Wednesday of the month, we do emails and a live call-in show. So don't forget about that as well in the city of brotherly love. And we have a lot to talk about this week, including talking about the situation that happened down in Washington, D.C. We talk a little bit about that. And Ralph's opinion comes back. It'll be back next Thursday, I believe it's May 5th. I believe it's, I'm sorry, next Thursday, the first Thursday of May. It's back, 7:30 p.m., Ralph's Opinion Show. And then don't forget at 9 o'clock on Wednesday, or I'm sorry, Wednesday at 7:30, not Thursday. Geez, Wednesday at 7:30. And then at 9 o'clock, don't forget to join Smokin' Jim and I for the Steel City Sports World Show, along with Luther Dupree, Claudia Rosano, Big Row, and Fillmore, and with some great sports talk there. We're going to probably be breaking down the draft and a whole lot more all coming up, too. And the Tyson Mayweather fight never happened on Saturday, Smokin' Jim. What are your thoughts on that? We kind of figured that out, right?
Yeah, I said that all along. I didn't think it was going to happen. But let me just say this, Ralph, give you a little pat on the back, because I've met so many people through you. And one of them was Joe Kuglis. And Joe Kuglis had me at his Draft Nation
draft party,
NFL draft on Thursday. And I tell you what, man, he pulled it off. It was a packed crowd, man, 800 to 1,000 people, wow. Man. They was giving away, man, they gave away like 5 vacations, all expense paid. The memorabilia was there, had one of the Steelers there signing autographs, photo of himself autographed for all the fans for free. The food was outstanding. So I want to thank you again for introducing me to Joe.
That's no problem.
And I tell you what, I can only imagine how great it's going to be next year when it's back down on the North Shore.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be back there because guess where the NFL draft will be this year? In Washington, D.C. And I'm hearing this is actually not for real, but it's called Ralph's Ridiculous Rumors. I heard that it's going to be in the lawn at the White House and President Trump's going to be the host. That's what I
heard. Somebody tried to take a shot at our president this weekend.
Man, that's, you know what? I said this once, I'll say it again, Smokin' Jim. You might not like the president there, the way it is. You might not like him, but he's our president, man. You got to accept it. I get you don't like him, but for goodness sake, man, this is the 4th time. I mean, come on. The guy, believe it or not, even though he's a loudmouth, even though he says things and has done some unlikely things that have pissed some people off, like the progressives, and I'm not going to go into that here because we're not talking politics, but I will a little bit right now. And the progressives, I think the guy has done what he needs to do, and he's done more in the time he's been president now than I've ever seen any president do. I mean, this guy has just been a workhorse, and he's 82 years old, and he's a workhorse, and he's doing things outside the box. I know nobody agrees with war, but Iran has been a tyrant, Smokin' Jim, and you know this, and I know this. You and I saw the hostage situation that Jimmy Carter screwed up on back in 1979. We saw the Iran-Contra scandal. We saw Iran get involved in our business too many times. We saw Barack Obama give them $86 million in Hong Kong gold, and they took that money and they invested in a nuclear bomb that they can launch and it can hit the United States. I've said this 1,000 times over, and I'll say it one more time. Iran deserves what they're getting from the United States, because it's about time somebody step up to this country and do something. And I got to give him credit for that. I voted for him because he's a strong guy, and he's getting things done. I have nothing against women, but I didn't think Kamala Harris was going to get anything done. And then the vice president candidate that she had, Smokin' Jim, that Tim Wall, he turned out to be a jerk, and he's going to end up losing his governorship up here in Minnesota. So, to have him, I mean, I wasn't impressed with neither one of them. So I did what I did. I'm impressed. There's some things I didn't like there's some things I don't like that he's doing. But you know what? No president's perfect. But you know what? Have some respect for our president, whether you like him or not. He's the president of our country, and that's what you need to do. And I don't care what anyone says about the man. You need to have respect. And that's the problem in this country, Smokin' Jim. I think you'll agree with me. Nobody has any respect for anybody. Nobody has any respect for the president anymore. It's terrible. You know what I mean? And, I'm sorry we had to talk that here, Smokin' Jim, but, there you go. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, I always respect and enjoy your opinion. I'm not too much on politics, but I don't think people should be shooting at our president.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's kind of surprising how that happens. But
I didn't like Ronald Reagan. I didn't like Ronald Reagan when he got elected. I didn't like him at all. But when John Hinckley shot him, I said, "Whoa, he's going after our president. Whether you like the man or not, he's our president." And that's, I didn't like when John Hinckley shot Ronald Reagan. I didn't like Ronald Reagan. Again, I after what he did to the steel industry, I didn't like Ronald Reagan. But I will tell you this, Ronald Reagan had a lot of guts. He went after Libya, and he told Iran, if those hostages are there when I get sworn in, we're coming to get them, and we're taking you out. And he was a strong-willed kind of a guy. But there were some things I didn't like he did either. But I respected him because he was our president. And I got to actually see George Bush in 1989 at the Boy Scout Jamboree.
You saw who?
George Bush, the first George Bush. Yeah, at the 1989 Boy Scout Jamboree in Fort A.P. Hill, Virginia. I got to see him. He came to speak to the Boy Scouts. So there you go. When I was in the Boy Scouts, I got to see him. So
now, is there still Boy Scouts?
It's called Scouting now, because Boy Scouts got in trouble. And what happened was they caved into these people. There was an elderly woman who was in charge of the troop. You have to have a committee, which involves parents, and if there's like the VFW or the church that sponsors you, they have to have two people on the committee. There's a troop committee, okay? And what happens is that there was this woman, she was on the committee, and the scoutmaster, she left or something like that, and there was no assistant. The assistant didn't want the job, so she took over as a scoutmaster, and the Boy Scouts told her women can't be scoutmasters, and she sued them. And she went and she got Women's Lib, and Women's Lib, they caved into Women's Lib, and then they had issues with the gay and lesbian community being involved in Boy Scouts. They got in trouble for that. And then there was some other problems, discrimination, racism, and all that stuff. So the Boy Scouts now, it's called Scouting. So they're letting everybody in now. They're letting women, girls, boys, the LGBTQ community. They got in trouble with that community and all that other stuff. So now it's called Scouting. So there you go. They took the boy off of it and made it Scouting.
Well, I still buy Girl Scout cookies, and I know I've never bought one from a boy. I'm assuming they're all girls.
It's
so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
You know what they did, Smokin' Jim? They put politics in this, and that's sad. Yeah. They legal lawyers and all that getting involved, lawsuits over something's completely silly. You know what I mean? When I was in Boy Scout, Smokin' Jim, we had a policy. women could be involved, but they had to be involved through the committee, handling transportation, doing bake sales, stuff like that.
Right.
My scoutmaster, may he rest in peace, George Starr, said, and I quote, "No women in camp." Simple as that. No women in camp.
Right.
And that was the
Right.
policy he had in the troop for years. And he told me, he said, "Ralph, if you ever become a scoutmaster, don't ever have women in camp. Because if you got teenage boys and you got all that, you know, their adolescence and their puberty and all that other stuff, you know what I mean? You know, yeah.
I know I'd have been working my way over to the girls.
Yeah. I could tell you some stories. I'll tell you off the camera here, off the air here, about what happened to the Hawaii contingent twice. I've been to 2 Boy Scout jamborees and it happened both times. I'll tell you about it off the air. Wait till you hear this one. You're gonna love this. For Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. This has been our last and final show. It's been a pleasure. Really sad that we didn't get the viewership that we deserve and whatnot. But you know what? I don't need to waste my time. I'm focusing on my radio shows, which are very successful. Again, I will still be on my social media platforms doing shorts, Ralph Reports, and we still have Ralph's Opinion. We still have the Saturday Sports Show, just doing a little bit of consolidating, just doing a little bit of some things, getting rid of some dead weight shows that just aren't producing. And due to certain entities and certain things like that, we had to wrap up this show, and it was really sad. So, but anyway, for Smokin' Jim Frazier, it's been a pleasure putting this on here. Don't forget to tune into my radio shows and also Smokin' Jim and I on tonight. Don't forget Smokin' Jim tonight on the Pittsburgh Sports Line. And we'll be back shortly with Wrestle Talk. So just stay tuned. Thank you. Have a good one.